Most of the new tariffs are paused for now. The stock market had a historic jump yesterday. Most exciting of all, we got to witness the art of the deal firsthand. Apparently, all along, Donald Trump's plan was to announce nonsense tariffs to the whole world, including uninhabited Penguin Islands, call them friendly, discounted reciprocal tariffs, ignore real tariff data, have ChatGPT do some math based on trade deficits, then sit back and watch the stock market crash, the bond market crash, his own party and advisors publicly turn on him, wait for CEOs to speak up, wait for Bill Ackman to freak out, for countries to bail on bonds. Then, when a rumor on X says that he's considering a 90-day pause, and that causes the market to jump, issue a statement calling that fake news, only to announce 2 days later that he actually had been planning a 90-day pause all along. But, of course, before you announce the pause, be sure you post on Trumpy Social that it's a good day to buy and give cover to insiders who might have loaded up on some zero DTE spy calls that morning. That, my friends, was the art of the deal. Today on Dumb Money, we're going to tell you how we're playing it from panic to profit, our 3 big moves.
This is Dumb Money Live.
Hey there, Dave here along with Chris and Jordan. We are Dumb Money. Welcome to Dumb Money Live. A quick reminder to smash the like button. It really does help us out with the almighty algorithm. Chris, Jordan, good morning. We're in tariff pause mode. Of course, that has not paused the 120% new tax on stuff we buy from China, which to me sounds like more art of the deal nonsense. There's no way we're going to actually be paying 125% long-term on stuff we buy from China. But what do you think?
Yeah, first of all, admittedly, I did not handle the last week really well. I made a critical error a week ago. I've been thinking about this administration for a while and how this would play out with tariffs, and my assumption was that Trump would cave a lot quicker than he did. So I had initially not really hedged my account aggressively because I thought that he would almost immediately cave. And
you and I had a disagreement on that because I thought that he was going to let these go into effect. I didn't realize how quickly he was going to undo it after letting it go into effect. But you thought he was never going to even let that midnight tariff hit, right?
I thought he was going to cave, honestly, multiple days before he did. And that was a huge error on my part. I lost a lot of money. Then I had to place my hedge late, which was really expensive. Cost me a ton of money to put that hedge on late. Then when he did cave, I sent that text to our group chat on Sunday night saying that he can't lose this much longer, right? I said he cannot handle losing and he's going to cave. Yet I didn't have enough confidence in that to take that huge hedge off. And I had such a massive hedge going into yesterday from the evening before, as you recall, which was set to work beautifully until it looks like Japan, China, maybe 1 or 2 other countries crashed the bond market and forced him to cave yesterday morning. I should have listened to his tweet like other people did. Which was foretelling.
Were you not live trading his tweets yesterday? Because when he said "be cool," I took my my hedge off because I was also hedged. I had SPY puts. When he said today's a good day to buy, I got back into my triple leveraged QQQ in my retirement account, which I had sold out. As the market was falling apart, worked out.
Why didn't you text me? Why didn't you text me on that?
Why would I need to text you? The president texted you directly.
I got to a point where I didn't know what to believe and not believe.
That's what I've learned. My biggest learning of this is when the president says buy. Like, I'm going to next time put $1,000 into zero DTE options on the SPY anytime that Trumpy social account says buy.
It's
just a gamble. It's not an investment. It's a gamble. And I did see, I don't know if you saw this, but there were some zero DTE options that were trading for 1 cent 4 hours before the announcement. If you just bought those in the morning when he said to chill out and it's a good day to buy, that $1,000 trade would be worth $1.5 million. It would have basically undone all of this tariff nonsense in my account.
Yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
about what I've lost so far.
Listen, we like to talk about when we do things right, and I think it's really important to talk about when we do things wrong. And I just made a couple critical errors in misjudging how long it would take for him to fold, and then when he finally folded, I missed that by a small amount, which a couple hours was too long. Um, I took my hedge off yesterday as a result. Yesterday was a great day, obviously. Today's a little painful again.
Are,
This
are,
is
are you at all hedged today?
so this no, I'm not. And this is a tough market, and we're all in this trying to figure it out, right? Day to day.
Yep.
I think what we learned uh is that Trump has kind of hit his limit in terms of pain. He does fully understand now that he is handcuffed. And I think he'll be probably a bit more careful going forward in terms of what he thinks he's capable of doing in as it relates to this tariff situation. The
I think
whole
all
thing with
along he wanted to
anyway.
negotiate no tariffs on us for anything, and by putting crazy tariffs on everyone, he wanted to bring people to the negotiating table, and he was just unable to keep the crazy trades tariffs in effect for as long as he wanted to.
Well, now there's an assumption in the market also that we're not going to, people are just assuming these China tariffs are going to dissipate and to some
Yeah.
extent, right? Because of what happened over the last
I
24
thought there was some
hours.
messaging that came out that said they might make exemptions company by company, which again would just destroy small businesses, do the exact opposite thing of what he was trying to do. So I don't know what to believe anymore, and I think that that's what the market's kind of doing right now is that they don't know what to believe. No one knows what to believe, and it's not stable.
Jordan, I've been thinking about that a lot over the last couple of days about the winners and losers of how this actually plays out, and I 100% agree with you. It feels like the Russell is what you would want to hedge and short going forward. Do you agree? Because the smaller companies are going to get slaughtered here. The larger companies are likely to get exemptions, I would imagine, because they have the political bandwidth to cut those deals, and they're large enough to get the attention to get those deals and those exemptions cut from the administration. Would you agree on that?
Yes. I mean, yeah, I mean, that logically makes sense. Just sitting here with what we know today. But on the other hand, who knows? I mean, who knows what these people are going to do? It's
erratic.
Basically,
Yeah.
you have to place your bet. You got to buy the ticket. You got to take the ride, but you don't know where the ride's going. It could change in a tweet in an instant. And I think that's the biggest problem is that investors are starting to see, hey, businesses can't operate like this. And so there's going to be no growth in the economy. The U.S. is done until this nonsense stops.
Okay, so I agree with you, but and we'll get to our actual trades here before the show's done, we promise. But on a macro level, I think this is kind of played out. He now has to wrap it up and claim a win, right, Jordan? Like this is how Trump operates. He has already started the process of trying to claim a win. It's not going great. I think because of today's price action in the market, it puts additional pressure on the administration now to wrap this up and not push too hard. Like if today was a continuation of yesterday, I think it would have given them the false confidence that maybe they can go out back and push hard on China. Because of today's retracement, I think that provides additional pressure to get things done with China, to get things done with other countries and large companies, to wrap this up over the next few weeks to couple months and move on to the next issue where they could hopefully calculate it better and get cleaner wins. Because remember, the motivation of this administration and Trump is always to claim wins, okay?
Yep.
That's the one takeaway that we can count on. They want wins. Now, the wins don't actually have to be wins, but they have to be able to claim wins. Okay,
I thought they just bumped up the tariffs on China again. I think we're
they did. We're at 125, 125%. And I think
no, I thought
yesterday
it came out that it's 145 now.
Oh, we've done more since I started.
Somebody
writing
mentioned
that
it in the
intro.
chat. I thought that I saw it also on Twitter earlier.
Wait, is that real? I might have missed that. 145. Yes.
Oh,
wow.
Yep.
Dude.
But we also now have the Trump budget passed the House, and the 2017 tax cuts are permanent. Apparently, I'm getting headlines in real time here.
Yeah.
And I think that yesterday, part of the market's excitement was tariff paused was the headline, but nobody really knew exactly what that meant. You had to really like parse the words of Trump's. I can't call it a truth. Okay. I'm just going to call it a Trump. When Trump trumped on Trumpy Social, nobody knew what that really meant. Apparently, we still have 10% across the board, which is way higher than the tariffs used to be. I saw analysis by the analyst this morning saying that effectively across all of our exports, we're still now sitting at a tariff rate on average in the 20 to 25% range. That was effectively 30% after the Rose Garden, when he brought out the menu board of how much tariffs were going to be. On average, based on what we actually export, that would be about 30%. So now we're in the 20 to 25% range. We used to be at 3%. So 10%, way higher than 3%. And I don't think anyone really was thinking about that. I without any additional news, I kind of thought the market would pull back a little bit today once we digested that we still are in, even though we're in paused tariffs, we're only in paused new tariffs, and that's only the excessive menu board of tariffs, not the normal 10% tariffs, which would be considered abnormal by historic standards.
Listen, I'm going to stand by this. I believe that the administration needs the win. The only way that they get the win is by wrapping this up. They have to move beyond this whole tariff issue because it's not playing well for the administration right now. They have lost the faith of the business community. Everyone is ripping on this administration right now. It is a massive weakness point for Trump right now. They have to move forward. They have to wrap it up. Obviously, it was a massive mistake the last week.
Well, it's not just the business community. It's also the international community because, as we heard, Japan has been dumping long-term U.S. treasuries, which is why long-term yields have been going up. So is that still going on today? I don't know. Yields are up again today, so I don't know who's doing the selling, but
guys, we know this. It is easy for them to claim wins here. This administration could claim a win out of anything. All they need to do is do something. We could end up with less than we had before, and they'd still claim a win. They're going to
find a way to claim a win. We know that, and so knowing that, let's talk about our moves. What are we going to do in anticipation of the win is coming from Trump, regardless of how big of a win it actually is, monetarily?
Okay, so I have this thesis that because of the way this played out, this is going to leave such a negative mark on the administration that even when they wrap it up over the course of the next few weeks, right? Maybe sooner, but over the next few weeks, they're still going to walk away pretty beaten up, and they're going to internally, they're going to have to figure out how to win back the business community because it's a really important anchor for this administration. And one thing that you heard them surfacing again recently was this Trump plan to eliminate capital gains. Have you heard the buzz recently about that? Like he's continuing to bring it up. It seems like an impossibility that he could actually pull that off, but I do believe that that is something they're going to attempt. And they know that if they were to pull that off, that would win every. Do we agree that if we somehow get through this tariff mess and we end up roughly in the same place. Maybe tariffs are a little bit higher than they were before it started, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But if we're able to wrap up tariffs and then they have to figure out how to win back the business community, if they go for the elimination of capital gains and
Yeah.
are able to make that happen.
Doesn't that just make it easier to sell?
What?
Doesn't that just make it easier to sell?
Absolutely.
It makes it easier to sell. It makes it easier to buy. It makes it easier to just freely trade your account without having to worry about having
right. And then if there's any roadblock, you just sell everything because it doesn't matter, right? If there's no capital.
Jordan, you're going to sell and then you're going to immediately buy back again. Yes, you would exit positions you've been wanting to exit, but you know what else is going to happen, Jordan? If that's bigger than that, forget about public markets for a second. If that actually happens, there will be so many private transactions. The liquidity in private transactions, the liquidity in venture, the number of IPOs that you will see happen with the elimination of capital gains. This would be a monumental moment for capital markets. And even without that thesis playing out, my number one play coming out of this tariff situation just happens to be the company that I think might be amongst the top winners with the removal of capital gains. And Dave, you know who it is, right?
I'm sure, because the way you set this up, I know that you and I have the exact same stock picked as our big move. I just want to point out that on X the other day, I saw a tweet that said, President Trump says the U.S. is on track to completely eliminate capital gains this year. My response was by completely eliminating capital gains.
That was everybody's response, but
I think I was the first. Check the timestamps. Fact check that. But yes, I can tell you firsthand. We haven't yet you haven't said the stock yet, have you?
I haven't said it, and you know what? I hate being that guy. I can't. You know who the people that I hate the most are the people that have been just. I have a lot of crypto friends. I love my crypto friends. I love crypto people, but a few of the influencers on X who for 4 years would only say the same thing every day. Bitcoin. I want to eliminate them from the war. Like, I can't handle that. So I hate the fact that I'm about to talk about the same stock I've been talking about for 8 months, but it's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
And I can tell you firsthand that the stock that you're about to mention, I checked my screen time on my iPhone yesterday. It is actually now in the #1 position of the past week of apps that I've been using. It has beaten X, which is normally at the top of my thing, just from a pure time spent doom scrolling. The app you're about to mention is the most used app on my iPhone in the past week.
It's Robinhood, okay? And I think Robinhood, if you look at the companies that recovered the most yesterday, if you look at the companies that popped the hardest yesterday,
when I looked, it was up 25%.
That's right, 25%. Yep. I mean, I'm sure there were probably a couple companies that recovered harder than Robinhood, but not many. And that, to me, is a clear indication of what to look for when we finally fully wrap up this tariff mess. I think once the tariff mess is wrapped up, and I believe it probably will be wrapped up here within a few weeks, I hope, it seems clear to me that Robinhood is going to be one of the biggest winners and is set up the best for a recovery move. And the fact that it came back down today somewhat, not that much, but came back down today. I love it. I love it right here. I love it. And if there's one company that I am going to, I've already kind of doubled down on it, but if there's one company I will double down again as I start to see the tariff situation go away, it's going to be Robinhood.
Yep.
It's really clear to me. And then in the event that the conversation of this administration to repair its relationship with the business community starts a transition to the elimination of capital gains, again, another massive tailwind for Robinhood, in addition to some of the other banks, right? Like, not Robinhood's not a bank, right? But like, obviously, I think also beneficiaries would be Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, right? Like,
Did you did you
would,
see the clip yesterday from the Oval Office of the White House where the president is introducing some people and introduces Charles Schwab, who is in the Oval Office, and said, "Oh, this guy made some good money today, $2.5 billion," and this guy made like, what is going on?
So here's the thing: when we have situations like we've had over the past couple weeks, it introduces a massive amount of noise, a massive amount of confusion. It gets our emotions running high. And sometimes these are the best times to kind of cut through the noise to just identify the winner, because it brings the entire market down, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what space you're in. You could be relying on China, relying on Vietnam. You could be a retail company, a financial company. The indexes were being sold, so everyone was being sold off. I Robinhood was being sold for good reason here, right? Because if the market stays in a prolonged recessionary period, it's going to get impacted. But clearly, we all know this wasn't going to last. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. It was
Yeah.
just a matter of timing, right? Like, how long would it last? And I still believe that today. I think we'll wrap this up within a few weeks, and Robinhood has to be the clear winner.
And timing the market is always impossible.
Well, timing's impossible, but there might be some actual losers here, because, like you said, if tariffs end up going up from low single digits to high single digits, or maybe even 10%, kind of globally, that's a really big negative for a lot of companies. But and listen, that might depress trading to some extent, right? If the overall capital gets reduced across portfolios, that's a negative for Robinhood as well. But I do believe they have to repair. They have to repair this relationship, and there's the best way to do it is the elimination of capital gains. I think they're going to go for it. I really do. If you read between the lines, they're setting indications that that's their move to repair their relationship. Has to be
So,
Robinhood.
So I'm Robin Hood. Chris is Robin Hood. Jordan, what is your big move?
My big move is short any pops that we see, because I'm over it. I think it's over.
Short the tops?
Yeah.
Well, if you had done
I'm
that,
not shorting right now. I should have shorted yesterday.
You had done that yesterday morning or yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, I almost did. I thought there'd be some continuation. There wasn't. So I don't know. I mean, I don't see anything positive happening.
Jordan, you're telling me that if we finally wrap this up over the next few weeks and we settle things with China and we settle things with the rest of the world, we do have a higher tariff, we have a higher tariff globally, but
how is that good for trade? How is that good for commerce? How's that good for growth? It's not
good.
Stocks are still expensive relatively to any period of time. I just don't see how any of this is going to end well.
Jordan, it's not good. Okay, I agree with you. It's a net negative for everybody, but how much of a net negative relative to everything else that's going on in the world, which is kicking off what I believe is the largest cycle of productivity gains that we will maybe see in our lifetime as we start to productize and commercialize artificial intelligence across every single industry sector, making every single industry sector way more productive. That is going to happen over years, not over months.
Yeah. It'll happen over years. I'm talking about the short to midterm. I just don't see anything good happening.
I think that once we can settle this, the market expectations were so down and out on this tariff
Then
situation.
what's the next dumb thing that happens? it's disaster after disaster.
But Jordan, that's what I'm getting at. And what I'm getting at is this was so dumb. No. What I'm saying is this is so dumb. This created so much damage, reputational damage to the
not just
president.
reputational damage for the administration. It's what foreign country wants to buy our bonds now when you can just blow things up overnight with a tweet? I just don't see anybody finding any stability here for years.
Compared to other countries, even if we do have a crazy leverage play with the way social media can impact the markets, it still seems to be the place where most people park their money.
I mean, it was.
No. So Jordan, I think we have shown that the bond markets and other countries' ability to have a chokehold on us through the debt that they own, okay, has basically shown us that is the new put. Okay,
yeah,
we just discovered that in the last 2 days. Okay, that is really important because we did not have any constraint before that. Congress has basically given up all control to the president. We all know that the president does not have the ability to tax and to tariff without congressional approval, but he found a way to circumvent that with this emergency fentanyl story that we all know is ridiculous. Okay, so we did not know. There was too much concentrated power that was creating chaos over the last week. But now we discovered over the last 2 days that we have a way to control that through the bond market. Okay, that's actually
we're not controlling it through the bond market right now. You've got the 30-year selling off again. You got the 10-year selling off again. There's no.
But Jordan, you're selling
it's out of control,
off,
Chris.
and that is. But the market is working. They're selling off. That's going to put additional pressure on us to resolve this situation. It's going to be really volatile for the next few days.
Dollars are going down. So basically, I mean, everything that's in front of you is just flashing warning signs that people are losing trust in the United States economy.
I agree with you, but that is over the.
So how do you gain trust? It takes time, and that's not days, it's not months, it's years, Chris. It's years.
I don't think so.
I think that's the right thing. It's years.
I don't. Oh, Pedro, come on. You got Pedro siding with you. Okay. I know.
Hey, by the way, I could be wrong. This is my opinion.
I know you could be wrong, and I could be wrong. Okay. I'm an optimist. But I do think that the sentiment is so down and out. And I'm not just talking about investor sentiment. I'm talking about globally sentiment on the United States is at an all-time low right now. I 100% agree with you. But what we saw in the last 24 hours, if you look at the statements, the reversal that Trump has taken in terms of he's admitting that he went too far. He's admitting that he got scared. Did you see his statements?
No, it's not. The statement was that he saw bonds, and he knows that that's how the government funds itself is through bonds, and so you can't push the bond market that far.
He's talking about.
You know what? You don't get to choose, right? You don't get to choose who buys and sells. That's the market. And so the market right now is saying we don't.
He didn't want to create a depression. He used the word depression. Yeah. The fact that he realized now in his head that he had gone so far that he could have caused a depression.
He realizes that his actions actually have consequences. For the first time in his life, he's had a consequence for something that he's done. And he's like, whoa, what just happened here? I'm not used to this. This is a new feeling I'm having. Maybe I should undo what I just did.
I actually think that when we are done with this whole thing, that everyone is going to be so relieved. I think the entire world is going to be so relieved. I think American investors are going to be so relieved. I think his administration and Trump himself is going to be so hurt that he has that his by the way, I think his approval ratings are going to come down. Approval ratings are delayed. They're delayed by like
2
5,
weeks,
6
I think.
weeks.
I think it's 2
But
days.
they already they already had come down. He had the biggest drop off. He still is above where he was in his first term approval rating wise, at least the last time I saw. But he dropped really quickly from day one, faster than I've seen any of the other. Like the slope on his approval rating drop was faster than any previous president in recent times.
I am telling you, I do not. If there's one thing I think I know about Trump, he cannot handle a prolonged period of time where everybody hates him. He cannot
Yeah.
handle it. And he is going to do whatever it takes to make American investors love him again. He's going to do
That should be
whatever
his
he
new
thinks
hat.
he has to do.
Make investors love him again.
Yes. I
And
think
make
he's in a
markets green
corner right
again.
now. I think he's in a corner and he's butthurt, okay? And I think he is going to do whatever it takes over the coming months to try to reverse that.
Yeah,
This
somebody
is
else in the
what
chat
he's
just
done in the
brought
past.
up debt. So that's the other problem, is that we're still running the same deficits that we have been. These tax cuts aren't going to help it. And as we've seen from all of the public spending data, none of what's happened with Doge or any of that has caused any drop in spending or deficit
Agreed.
spending.
Agreed.
So the debt just keeps piling up, and yet we want to pass tax cuts and things like that. Does that make you want to buy bonds?
Well, again, you're missing one thing, and that's the super cycle that we are sitting on the front end of that hasn't started yet. The only part of the super cycle, the AI super cycle that has begun, is the investment piece of it, right? So we're investing tons of money. We haven't seen any of the returns yet, but I firmly believe that the returns that we will receive as an economy from this AI super cycle will be unlike anything we've seen in our human history, right, of our lives. And I think this could pull us out of this situation that we're in right now. I truly believe that. And even if it doesn't, I think there will be a level of optimism that it potentially can. And I think that will rebuild faith in our capital markets. I do. I think maybe I'm being too optimistic by that. But if we get a capital gains cut even at some point between now and the end of the year, it's game on, especially for financial services. And I think you have to pay attention to financial services even as conversations start around that subject matter.
Yep.
So I think we're going to clear out this tariff situation over the next few weeks. I think he's going to try to repair his relationship with American investors. I think he's going to do that by trying to eliminate the capital gains tax. And that will be a massive tailwind for the financial services sector. I think Robinhood might end up being the biggest winner of that. And that's my stock. That's a stock that I'm buying more of anytime I get new cash. Anytime I get a check in the mail. So I'll get a check in the mail.
You
from
got
my
some when it
restaurant.
was at a 25% discount yesterday, right?
What?
You got more Hood yesterday when it was 25% off.
I did buy more Hood. I have a check. I'm going to I have a check on Monday coming to me for Collecticon. I'm taking that check. I'm cashing it. I'm buying more Robinhood. Maybe I'll get a little check in a couple weeks from my restaurant. I'm cashing it. I'm buying more Robinhood. Okay.
Anytime
I
money
have a
hits the account.
deal. I
Now,
have
what
I have
about
a financial.
you're probably paying taxes right now too, though. So where are you finding more cash? That's my biggest problem. All my cash is going to the government, and I can't buy more Robinhood right now.
Oh, you just ruined my plan, Dave. You're right. I forgot about that. That's
you know where your cash is going.
That's next week. I do have a big. You know what? I was on the phone with my accountant yesterday, and he got me so excited. He told me that I didn't owe any taxes, and I was like, you made a mistake. You made a mistake. And I was like, what? Can you tell me where you're like, how much do you have for my capital gains? Like, because I had a massive year last year for capital gains, insane year for capital gains off my trading account.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh no, you had like 100,000. I was like, what account are you looking at? And he told me the account number. I was like, no, that's the wrong state. Did you not get, because I uploaded all these into the cloud for him. I was like, did you not get the one for this account? He's like, no. I was like, oh God. I was like, I was in my car and I pulled my laptop out and I pull it up and I'm like, I was like, do you know how much I earned last year on capital gains from my Schwab account? And dude, it's gonna be a rough week next week. By the way, I do think that's a negative going into next week that maybe no one's talking about right now. Last year was a massive year for investors and capital gains. I think this is creeping up on people, and they're going to be pulling money out of their account over the next
people should have been paying by now. Don't people pay quarterly?
You should.
I know, but
you should, but
I don't.
I don't.
Do people actually do that?
I just pay the penalty. The penalty is less than what I'm making in the market.
What I do is I try to pay everything by the 4th quarterly due date, which is like January something. So I've got like a weird spreadsheet that I can just pump a bunch of stuff into and then guesstimate.
Yeah, see, I never have any clue how much I'm going to owe until the actual end of the year, and then I don't even bother until April 15th.
Oh, hold on, guys. This is important.
Breaking news.
No, it's not breaking news. Like, I got to cut out of here in 8 minutes. And Jordan, that is not the trade that you told us about that you were going to discuss today.
Oh, we'll talk about that one later. I mean, there's no reason to even talk about that trade right now. It doesn't make any sense, especially with tariffs the way they are.
Okay.
Because
well, you're right. They would be impacted by it.
It definitely impacts this trade. I love this trade. It's just not the trade for today.
All right.
We will do another show.
Another show.
It has to do with global warming. And so if you're looking for a big, good, liberal, sissy trade, it's a great, great global warming.
Oh, Jordan's got a lib trade. I love it.
That'll be the title of the episode.
The funny thing
is big lib trade.
Jordan's big lib trade. It's coming. I actually really like Jordan's trade, so I won't hint at it.
It's just but we got to get past, like Chris said, we got to get past all this tariff stuff. Maybe it never happens because we just tariff.
It's going to happen. All right, so when we
to China, and then everything ends.
All right, when we come out of the tariff stuff, we'll do another show on that trade. So for now, Jordan's going to keep shorting the market. The market's going to pop big time when we get out of this mess.
I'm not shorting the market right now. It keeps evading me. Where my points that I want to short at keep not making it. So
Well, when the market does pop, you know what Jordan's doing. He's going to short it. He's going to short it. He's not a believer. I'm a believer. I am going to buy even more hood probably the day that the market pops, just like I did even throughout yesterday, because I just think it's going to move and continue to move once we can get through this mess. This mess has been terrible for Robinhood, and
but you're staying out of margin as much as possible right now. You're not super leveraged. You're net long, but you're not leveraged, right?
Probably a little.
You're a little leveraged. You're a little leveraged.
Little.
I know, but you being a little leveraged is essentially a normal person being anti-leveraged.
Can I talk about a stock that got murdered? It's one of my stocks.
If you have time, I thought you had to go.
Maybe worse than any stock on the market from this tariff mess. Thank goodness I had sold most of it, but I did keep some of it. And the some of it that I kept, I lost 6 figures just on the little bit.
Oh, let me guess. Amazon.
Yeah. Nope, not even close.
That has gotten killed though.
It's gotten killed, but I still like Amazon. I'm not selling my Amazon. Or my Tesla, or my Apple. Everything's been killed.
Yeah.
This stock is so reliant on China. It's not even funny, and it's so off everyone's radar, but the people that know, and they have sold it off so much. So once we actually resolve,
I think the best guess is probably Deckers or maybe Restoration Hardware.
no, I've looked at all. By the way, of the stocks that are probably like of the common stocks that people know of that they're relying on China, because I kept looking for ones that were super reliant, and I would do deep research on every one of these companies. And believe it or not, like a lot of these companies have diversified out of China. So most of them are only like 30-40% relying on China. Now the toy companies are still pretty reliant. I think Mattel is fairly reliant on China. But there was one of those retail companies. Oh my gosh, who was it now? Even Crocs has started to diversify out of China. There was one, which is the one that I told you guys I was shorting this week. God, this is gonna really piss me off if I don't remember this because I want to talk about this. I'm gonna have to look in my account and look at my trades now. My order
I love
status.
Chris' story time. He doesn't actually know what he's talking about.
What's
He
going
just
on?
really hypes it
All
up
right,
until
look,
he can't
first of
remember
all-
the
first of all,
actual.
right.
What's the
Right,
company?
the stock that got crushed, I'll tell you that one. It's Corsair. You know, we had episodes on Corsair, right?
Yep.
Corsair makes basically.
But you were still in that? That was a short-term trade.
Oh yeah, I got out of that
I
like
sold most of it. I sold most
ago,
of it. But
I feel like
no, guys,
it's been months.
I sold most of it. I kept
Yeah.
like 20% of my position, but even the 20% that I kept was enough. When the stock went down 50%, it went down 50%.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I actually, if we can resolve China, I'm gonna pop back into Corsair. Corsair's at like $6, dude. It was at $13. It was at like $13. What, like 6 weeks ago?
That was a great trade.
Yeah, it's at $6. Okay.
Yeah.
I still think the thesis for Corsair still is there.
Yeah.
It's still there. The
Yeah.
thesis of AI being able to be in your box at your house, like that is still a thesis that is in the early stages. Okay. I think that's still a driver for Corsair.
And
We
if
got to
it
get
doesn't
through
cost
this.
150% more to import your Corsair products, then yeah.
If it's 140% tariff on them, they're cooked. They might be out of business within a year if that tariff actually goes through. But assuming it doesn't go through, yeah, they'd be in good shape. God, it pisses me. Oh, history. Okay, guys, let me just.
Do you have thoughts on real quick before we go? Abercrombie and Fitch.
I found it.
Okay, what is it?
Skechers.
Skechers. Yeah.
Actually seems like it was the one retail company that seemed to have the largest concentration of supply chain coming directly from China still, and they hadn't really diversified that much out of China. So that was the short that I had this, and it did well. It did well this last week. Skechers got killed. So I think, I don't know. If they can resolve the situation with China, Skechers might be another one to think about hopping in really quick.
Skechers is a great recessionary shoe brand because you can get a good pair of shoes. I mean, they're ugly, but they're a good pair of shoes for like, less than $100.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah, well, I don't, good, maybe. I don't know. They're ugly. They're ugly.
No, I just mean like they're a good brand for recession.
Yeah.
Brand.
Which brand? Skechers?
Yeah.
I like Skechers. They're my travel shoes.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I've never owned a pair of Skechers.
The slip-ins are super comfortable. It's just like that knit kind of thing, but with more of a foam tennis shoe bottom. Super comfortable.
Are you going full granddad, Dave? You're wearing.
I don't wear them here, but when I'm in Mexico,
is very granddad.
When I'm in Mexico, I wear my slip-in Skechers.
Yeah.
Is this who we are now?
Look at how old. Have you checked your birth date?
I can't talk because I'm still living in the early 2000s wearing Toms every day.
Yeah, but Chris, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. You can't talk fashion shoe wear.
That's right. I have no fashion.
But
Jordan got
Skechers,
stuck.
it's not a fashion competition with these Skechers. They're just comfortable and they're good to wear in a lazy beach town.
Well, that's fine. And by the way, where you live in Mexico, Dave, no one's seeing you. Probably everybody wears Skechers down there.
I'll do a little informal survey of the dive bar next time I'm there.
Oh my God, are you the only American in that dive bar?
No. It's like half and half. It's half locals and then half, American expats who just like go to the dive bar literally every single day. It's the same people every time.
Do you like know them? Like, are you friends with them?
I'm not an everyday kind of visitor. I go once a month maybe, but it's always the same people. So I can only imagine, unless we happen to all be picking the same day out of the month, it's pretty much the same crowd. Shout out if you're watching at happy hour in north of Rosarito.
Is that what it's called?
Just come say hi. Come say hi next time. Yeah, happy hour. Right at KM 43 off of the toll road there in northern Baja, Mexico. Come say hi. Let me know you're in town. I'll meet you at happy hour.
You shouldn't say that. Someone's going to come kidnap you, Dave. And then I got to go rescue you.
You are so afraid of Mexico. I do not understand it. You have a better chance of being kidnapped in downtown LA than you do in the touristy zones in Baja.
All right. Well, I have a lunch that I have to go to in Highland Park Village right now, so I've got to get out of here.
The absolute opposite of the dive bar in Mexico. All right. Have a good lunch. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are Dumb Money. We will see you again whenever we do a show. There's only one way to know when we do that, and that's to subscribe and follow us on X, because we now have more viewers on X than we do on YouTube.
Oh, by the way, Dave and I were in Austin this week.
Oh, yes.
And we had a really fun time with Jack and Graham, Iced Coffee Hour. I think they're going to publish our episode on Sunday, right?
That's what I hear. So if you want to hear a continuation of the conversation about tariffs, where we are basically talking, I don't even know what we said because everything has changed since then, but hopefully it's still a relevant conversation.
Yeah. So check in with that channel on Sunday. Probably
the Iced Coffee Hour on YouTube. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.